Hello, friends and fans. It's Michael Pierce with another Webmasters Posse. We're starting a little bit early today, working on some technical stuff, and just want to make sure everything's up and running. One of the things I forgot today was that once I hit the start button, we don't have any option to stop the process until the recording's done, or I have to go reboot everything, and at that point it will be not ready for everybody when we go public. So there'll be a bit of dead tape at the beginning of this I'll have to edit out, but I've been learning how that all works. Mastering the basics of YouTube editing and getting graphics figured out and making this whole thing more manageable. I'm working on an excerpts right now, 5 questions and answers from guests that are here live on the Webmasters Posse. So as people come in, I will interact with them, and we'll save this piece for a bit of a bloopers reel and some editing. Okay. I don't know where the rest of the group is today. I don't understand how that does work. Oh. Wow, I might have done it wrong. Oh. Get your link. Keep calm, Michael. Well, still searching around. Just talked to our guest speaker. She's going to be here momentarily. Hello, Agnes. How are you today?
Who, me?
Who, you? Just talked to Phyllis. She thought I'd send her the wrong link because she had to log in as an admin, and that confused her.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's okay. It's just so you can speak.
Maybe she doesn't want to. She just wants to be a... See, I always come in, and if you look at the attendees, I'm Michael.
Odd about that.
It happened last week, too.
Now, is that because you took the link from the group or because you took the link from your email?
I took the link from the email.
Then it should be Agnes because each person, it should be email specific. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Me neither.
If anything, you think that both of us would be Agnes.
No, because you've signed
back
on.
office setting it up, but
who knows?
If the computer was really that smart. They say Google knows everything, but only if you ask it the right question.
Exactly.
Who do these two marketers have in
Other than that,
common? They
how
have
are
a
you?
webinar account. They trained that.
How are you?
I'm good. I actually took a day off on Monday.
Oh my goodness, good for you.
I hadn't taken one off in so long. I'd actually forgotten what taking a day off entailed, and I quite enjoyed it.
I had to go down to Nanaimo yesterday, and yeah, of course it was such a spectacular day that it was just like, oh man, I got to do this more often. Get out of the house, get away from the laptop. So.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to try and take Mondays off regularly because Ange is doing my papers Tuesday and Thursday, and I have more time. Part of that is to facilitate us getting some time together when we're both not having other commitments, and for us that means Monday. The way the
Oh,
paper.
good. Yeah, well, the nice thing about not having dependents and things is that you can make your day off whatever day you want to.
Absolutely. Or take 2 off or 3 off or book a week if you really need to go do something and take care of something. I got to be that band parent, and it was part of the biggest thing I really enjoyed about being self-employed while my daughters were in high school was I could be there during the day. I could be that driver parent. I could be that chaperone parent. I think it was
Well,
6 or 7 band trips, including 2 out of province.
yeah, it's funny because I had my own business when the kids were young, and every day at 3 o'clock I had an appointment. Nobody needed to know I was picking my kids up from school. I just say, oh no, I can't make 3 o'clock. I've already got an appointment. So it was great.
But that's the whole joy of scheduling your life, right? Isn't I don't understand. I tried it for 18, 19 years, being that employee model, show up for work, get a 50-cent raise. Really, yeah. Ended up working
Yeah.
50 hours a week, working weekends and holidays. So.
Yeah, no, it's good to be rid of it all, that's for sure. God.
Well, depends what you're doing
Just
and
rid
whether
of
you
this.
love
People
it.
pursuing me.
Sorry?
Oh, well. Who really loves a job? It wouldn't be a job, it would be a calling. Here's Robin.
Well, I
Hello,
enjoyed
Robin.
cooking the first 10 years. Robin has an
Are we
interesting
live?
purple glow. Hey, Robin, you're
Did you hit
filtered.
I know, what's that all about? How do I unfilter?
I don't know. Must be something with your camera. Michael, did you
I've
hit
never.
the live button?
Yeah, we are live.
Oh, okay.
But I've never seen this reaction before. It's interesting. Every single time we host or have one of these events, something new or different happens at some point during the travel. Honestly, though, I think because nobody else has changed color, you might find it's your camera or the plug-in for your camera. But you may not want to mess with that during a meeting. Oh, there we've got Robin's Google Circle popped up. Were you touching your camera?
Yes.
So it's very reactive.
So there's turning me off and turning me on. Well, maybe I'm just in my purple phase.
Yeah, these things happen. We all go through these things, I think. Purple's a good color for you, actually.
It's my favorite. Hi, Phyllis.
Hi. Let me see. What am I doing here? Nothing. It's downloading, but I see everybody, I think.
That's good. Sometimes the computer's just running the software in the background, making sure everything stays connected because it was a month ago you were here and Google has changed something in their Hangouts since then.
No
So
kidding.
don't worry about it. We can
Every
see
week.
you.
Oh, there's a full face. And another full face. And another full face. Very good.
We have 2 others watching in the wings on YouTube that aren't present in body today. My friend Lori is at her job, so she puts it on her phone on her desk with headphones, but she can't talk or interact.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the attendees, Michael, and Phyllis is Michael also.
Interesting. We're going to have to bring this to the attention of the webinar people and find out why that happened, because I sent each person their own email, and then they appeared as me. What does Robin show up as?
Robin's Robin.
Robin is Robin. Oh, there's Chris. Let's see how she comes in.
Robin has always been Robin. And I'm hoping that when I come up full screen, which I'm not doing.
You're purple.
I'm still purple. Okay. Purple it is.
You do come up full screen for us, Robin, when you speak.
Am I still purple?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'd say it's more violet.
Violet. Such a cool color.
Yeah, thanks.
There's definitely something wrong with your desktop camera, because there's also a bit of a metallic reflection in the picture.
Huh.
So I would suspect maybe the lens on your camera's been damaged from falling off your computer, or from...
Oh, she just removed something.
No, it's not a piece of plastic stuck over the lens.
Purple has been my favorite color.
Well, there you go. There's two of you. Hello, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Hi,
Chris. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Hi, Phyllis.
Hello.
Well, we are at 12:01, so you've come in at a perfect time, my wise friend. So you have a travel dates now for your journey?
Who are you talking to?
I was addressing you, Phyllis. I've just turned the camera towards you.
Oh. Yes. Probably around the 25th of April, and I'll be back on the 12th of May.
Nice. And is this a good time to be visiting Malta? I don't know, actually.
Well, it's not going to be much of a visit. This is for advanced studies. After this last 6-year course that I've taken, the study of the Sutras of Jaimini, they feel that we're now ready to take some more advanced work. So I'll come home with my head in a bandage.
So you will find yourself face pressed into a book, learning some of the ancient knowledge that isn't shared with the outside world.
That's right. That's what I've been doing for the last 6 years.
Well, thank you for coming and joining our small forum. Ancient Wisdom Wednesdays is a perfect fit then for you and what you have to bring to the group. So I would like to thank you for your coming on a regular basis and sharing that wisdom with us. There's one person, at least in the audience, that came specifically because you were our guest speaker today. So thank you for attending and sharing what you understand is how things work.
Okay, well, what you had talked to me about is giving some tools for all of you who are in the business of trying to sell, the business of trying to share good information to others. And of course, that involves you being very disciplined and very focused. And due to the fact we're all humans and we're all in a body, and we have this wonderful contraption called the mind that very rarely directs us easily in the ways that we want to go. It's difficult. It's really, really difficult to stay positive, to stay up, to maintain our initial enthusiasm regardless what the idea is. So rather than spouting more psychology, I thought that because it is a small group, I can graduate along the way and share some of the actual reason behind your mood cycles and behind the cycles that make some days less than charming. And the reason for that has to do with the energy around us. Now, we have a tremendous amount of energy around us. consider our cell phones, consider this implement of wasted time that we're talking on right now. This computer that we can fall into with great regularity. How it contacts us. I can sit here and I talk to people in India and in Europe and South America, and I don't have to leave my desk. Now something's going on. And that something is sufficiently powerful to provide me with all this information, or to provide all of you with this information. However, it also has an impact on us. And that seems to be something that we are forgetting. That we do have our energy from our computers, from our phones, from our microwaves, from just about everything. And somehow we think that we are invincible. It doesn't bother us, it doesn't affect us. Well, that is one of the greatest stories we've told ourselves. However, I'm going to take this energy influence a little bit further. And before I do that, I will explain where I'm getting this information from. I believe everyone here knows that I'm a Jyotishi, which means I'm a Hindu astrologer, which is the best way to, or easiest way to understand it. And that has involved many, many years of study of the ancient literature. The literature that when it was first encountered by some of our older relatives was discounted as being poppycock. Well, what is happening now in the areas of physics, astrophysics, biology, they're starting to go back to look at this information because, my goodness, every time we make a discovery, there it was written. So we accept, well, that was a lucky guess, but the rest of it is wrong. Can't be, because it doesn't fit our world scheme. Well, one of the things that they talk about in Jyotish is the Stone Age computer that they had, that was developed prior to the age of Kali for the use of Jyotishi during this extended period of ignorance and darkness, because we do not have the capacity to hold the information in our heads that the ancients did. Now, the purpose of this Ashtaka Varga is to evaluate the energy coming from the graha, from the planets, for each individual. Now, it's enough in our little minds to understand the energy coming from the planets. You know, most of us can handle that. But when we start to think that, oh my God, every person walking on the street receives that energy at a different level of intensity, that starts to scramble the brains. Well, the fact of the matter is we can be scrambled for a while, but it does work. Now, the tool that they use to do that, this Ashtaka Varga, is a binary system. It's on, off, 0 to 8. It's exactly the same core system that is operating the computer that we're all looking at. So this system tells each of us how much energy, how much light we are getting from the grahas. Now, the most important energy level for any of us to learn to deal with is our mind. How do we see the world? And we all have a different, and I'm going to say psychological levels, a psychological way of seeing the world. But the thing that we forget to remember is that that influence occurs once a month. From the time we start breathing on this planet till the time we decide to leave. Every month we have our unique pattern of understanding what the world looks like to us. So on the days when we're feeling really, really good and the world is a wonderful place and we go shopping and we buy those purple pants that we have nothing to wear with, that's because we had too much light around us and we thought, oh, I can handle it, but, you know, or buy a new stereo, I can handle it. What's $50 a week? That's nothing. Chicken feed, I'll make it. You know, we could do all those good things. Then we get the other end of the coin. And some people go from, I'm perfect and I can handle anything, and they fall flat in their face 2 days later. Oh my God, I can't get off the couch. I'm horrible, terrible, it's an awful world. Now, not everybody has such a wide range of emotion. But most people have those little dips and dives. And I'll tell you, those little dips and dives keep us going up and down. Now, all of us have the ability to be able to pout at least once a month. It's good for the complexion. A little pout never hurt anybody. And these pouts occur whether you're male, female, or in between. The whole idea is to acknowledge it in that way. How you can deal with that and how you can recognize that energy within yourself is one of the tricks to learning how to manage our time, manage what we're doing, and manage what we're taking on so that we have a calmer life. Now, I don't have time today to go over it for all of you. However, think about it. Think about how you feel. Think how you have those two voices within you. And we all have them. Sometimes we have more than that. When we think, well, there's nothing really wrong. And then the other voice says, oh, yes, it is. It's terrible. I mean, why should I have to do this? This isn't fair. My brother got away with it. I didn't. Or whatever the excuse may happen to be. But the fact of the matter is that our environment will not have changed. Everything is exactly like it was. It's how we look at it that is different. So that if you begin the process of paying attention to how you communicate with yourself, how you look at the world, you're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff. One of the things you'll find out is how much you hold other people responsible for your good feelings. And someone else has got nothing to do with how you choose to judge the world. You can think, well, you know, it would be nice if they did it differently. Or, isn't that a great way of handling something? But neither opinion affects you. You have to make your own choices, your own decisions. Is this making sense? Are we all...
Absolutely.
Heads bobbing.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Now, there is a way to mark out each person's personal energy level. However, I need everyone's birth data to be able to do that, and I need correct birth data to do that. One of the catches is you cannot align this energy flow or this chart with a calendar. So you may as well just start doing it yourself and paying attention to what's in you. Suddenly I'm getting and I don't know.
I will mute myself again because I was muted and I unmuted to respond to you. That may be where the feedback's coming from.
Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm off track. Yeah, pay attention. Begin the process of paying attention. And know that if you recognize within yourself, because some people are really calm, so they don't recognize that they have moods. And other people have a pretty good mood now and again. So if you're one of the individuals who do either climb up or fall down, you'll know it within yourself. Then we can begin the process of learning how to deal with it. Then so many of the tools that you read about and that you're encouraged to follow as you go through sales training begin to make sense once you can recognize the normalcy of how you see the world, and as you learn to listen to the strong voice within you, not the one that has been fed with all the fibs about someone else being responsible. So how's that for today? If that made sense, I'll quit now.
It made very good sense.
That made total sense, but certainly I wouldn't want you to quit now.
Oh, well. Okay, I'll rattle on for a little bit longer.
Phyllis, you started to talk about the fact that we could do this ourselves.
Yes,
were you talking about maybe charting it out for ourselves with the days that are up and the days that are down?
No, you can't. That's not worth doing. It truly isn't worth you trying to keep record every month about when I feel good and when I feel bad, because the fact of the matter is the movement of the moon in relationship to every individual's chart. For rule of thumb, we say the moon moves through a constellation every 2¼ days. Well, that's not true. I don't care how much we say it. It's a little less than 2¼ days. And that time accumulates. So the schedule gets absolutely blown. How you can do it for yourself is listen to yourself every day, right now. And if you're feeling shitty, just say, the energy isn't getting through. I'll wait. Because if we don't know anything else, it's going to change. And the more that we can follow that, the more we can experience that constant change, the more it enables us to have faith and confidence in that wonderful little voice in our gut that tells our truth. You see, we're in this culture that we're in right now, we are encouraged to look outside of ourselves for strength and guidance. Somebody else always knows better than we do. Well, I got news for you. You guys know much better how to deal with yourselves than I do. You just need to have the tools and the understanding of your uniqueness to be able to do that. And to know what the Sam Hill you're doing here. Once you know that information, then you have everything you need. My sole purpose is to just sort of buffer the walls for you. And then that's it. But you have the truth within you. Does that make sense? I know that we're supposed to believe that someone else has got a cure. There's this instant pill. It isn't going to work. You've got to do it, and it's hard work.
So I think what Phyllis is sharing, we have a syndrome in the online industry, and it's called the next quick fix. And a lot of people are into the next training or the next teacher or the next instructor, thinking it's going to solve their business problem. And you're saying that we're also doing that with ourselves, basically, and
Nope.
we need to.
Definitely. I don't only say it to you. The four of you needn't think that you are in any way unique in being looking for an instant answer. The whole bloody population is. Me too. I'd love an instant answer. I think that would be just peachy keen. Thank you. Rather than doing the work of slugging it out. But it's the slugging out that gives us our consciousness, that allows us to decide what we need to do, and allows us to follow our own truth. So my path is between the pages of something. Your paths are to talk to people. Your paths are to share other ideas. Some people get to dig ditches and other people to climb mountains. Follow your truth, not what you've been told is the path for you, but the path that you found for yourself. That's the way we get to go, and we continue to work. And we have it all figured out 2 seconds before we croak. No sense hanging around here if we know why. Or if we know it all.
So the point of the journey is to figure it out, but when you figure it out, the journey is over. So it's enjoy the journey, because you won't realize till you're done that it was over.
Well, you see, in part you're right, but as you figure out what your truth is, that opens up a whole new learning and a whole new phenomenal experience and the development of a relationship with yourself better than any you could conceivably imagine when you begin the process of being true to yourself.
So
and as you recognize these energies, you begin the process of being true to yourself.
So included in that is trusting yourself, because we all know what we're supposed to do, and we spend too much time asking other people what we should do. We should just take that breath, listen to ourselves, accept it, and do what we think we should do instead of questioning ourselves.
You got it.
I think, too, one of the...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, that just all went distorted, and now I have you frozen. What I was going to say is for me, that's what being online has done, is allowed me to find my true self instead of just fulfilling all the roles that I managed to take on over the years.
That is fantastic. Now, there's a trick, and it's a simple trick, but it's very hard for us to do. Every time you become aware of that, say thank you to yourself. Start acknowledging your own consciousness.
Interestingly, I say thank you for a lot of things these days, out loud.
I don't care about saying thank you for things. That's a really good idea. It's polite too.
Oh no. I don't mean stuff. I just mean yeah. But I mean things that happen in life. Just to stop. Yeah.
Okay, long as you're thanking yourself for your involvement, awareness, appreciation, whatever. You've got to start acknowledging yourself and the value of yourself. Because we can sure dump on ourselves real quick.
Phyllis, before you go, may I ask a question? And
Sure.
it doesn't have anything to do with this. It's something else.
Okay.
There are 4 signs that share 2 planets. Sagittarius and Pisces share Jupiter, and Gemini and Virgo share Mercury. It was
two more.
There was a prediction made by Linda Goodman several years ago. In a book I read that the planets that should go with Virgo and should go with Pisces, I believe, were coming and would be named. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I've certainly heard that prediction, and I read it years ago. No, I haven't. And, you know, there is something that is a challenge to explain. What you've just told me is you're a Western astrologer, and Western astrologers focus on the relationship of the solar system and the Earth, which is a very, very small space.
Okay.
In Jyotish, we most certainly are concerned about the Earth and the Sun for our calendar making. This is very, very important. But where we get our references and where the constellations, if we can call them that, are in the fixed stars. And that's called the nakshatras. You see, when we look at a Vedic chart, we have the 12 sun signs, but we also have 27 moon signs. And those 27 moon signs have 4 padas each and make 108 padas.
Wow, interesting.
So that is the difference between a tropical zodiac and a sidereal zodiac. The tropical zodiac is movable because every year it has to be adjusted so that it goes back to say the same story it said 2,000 years ago, or what was it, 137 BC is when it became carved in stone that the tropical zodiac would have 0 degrees Aries rising on the 21st of March. So every year it has to be altered to slide back. This is why the astronomers give Western astrologers such a hard time, because you don't even deal with the same zodiac. You don't deal with what's out there. If you take the celestial lat and long of the sun in a tropical chart and you shoot a telescope to that direction, you're going to miss the sun. It's not there. It will have moved about 24 degrees behind where you would expect to find it.
Wow.
Because the zodiac is changing. And that is why some people, if they say, well, you know, I'm a Libran, and they come and see me and I say, no, you're Virgo. And they say, oh, no, that can't be. And they're sitting there, peeky, trying to tell me that they're a Libran.
I am
I tell them. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do.
So Jyotish is based on what is actually there, just the same as in astronomy. You shoot the telescope to where the planet exists. Why other planets are not involved in Jyotish, in traditional Jyotish, is because they're not called planets. They're called graha. They are sources of phenomenal consciousness.
Wow.
Unbelievable consciousness. And they have the ability to touch each one of us and touch us differently.
Very interesting, and I'll have to look more into this.
Yeah, please do. You'll have fun.
Chris, if I could share just for a moment, Michael and I don't know, Agnes, if you have met with Phyllis, and we have taken a couple of her classes, her introductory classes. Michael's gone further than I have. But talk about an awakening of your consciousness when you start to relate to the world according to some of the teachings that Phyllis does, and the very basic teachings that Phyllis does. It's really mind-blowing and worth I'm hoping that Phyllis will have some more classes, and perhaps you can keep us involved in that. But Chris, it is so worth taking an exploration of this. I can't describe it any further than mind-blowing. It was really an exciting experience.
Okay.
Robin, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, yes, there will be classes. I'll do classes again in the fall. I'm taking the summer off. I'm becoming a mature individual. So I want more free time. If any of you have questions, send me an email. I'm too nosy to leave my computer. So, well, it's true. Yeah, there I am.
We will keep the group posted as you let me know what's going on. I will let each of the people here, especially the ones that have shown a specific interest, know. Once you know, they'll know, and everybody will have the chance to participate when the option comes around.
Perfect. It involves study and thinking and navigating your navel.
If I could address that, actually, study may be a misnomer. I think more is personal exploration than study, because I originally looked at it as a way to figure out how other people work, and I figure out that it works best if we use it to figure out how we're supposed to work, not how we are trying to work, if that difference makes sense.
True, because according to the ancients, all the other people we look at are an illusion anyway. So
I'm just going to say I'm going to remember that one. You're only an illusion.
hey, it's really handy when the situation gets tacky.
Thank you so much for your time today. It was marvelous.
So you could actually, thank you, Phyllis. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for sharing things that will help us understand ourselves better.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Be
Thanks,
good
Phyllis.
on you. Have fun. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. She's figured out the technology. Managed to escape the first try.
She's an unbelievably complex and yet simple person. She'll bring all the information down to where you can actually get it in your head and understand it, but it is so complex when you take all the pieces and try to put them together. And you're right, Michael, it's a difference between studying and exploring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was never excited about the
spent
whole
an hour with
studying
her.
thing in school. Yeah, it's just a different way of looking at yourself, and basically it just, every time you learn from her, it fine-tunes what you understand about yourself, because she's only answering the questions you specifically ask, or when she's describing stuff, she always relates back to the students in the class. So even if she's not talking about your chart, she's talking about the chart of one of the other participants, and it's fairly easy then to see the example of what she's trying to get at when she can point to, you know, one or two members of the group that have that sign and say this is their traits, and they try to argue they don't, and they're using the trait that she says they have in the argument. Like the Virgos are always saying they're not picky. Unless they're aware, and in which case they stop arguing.
We're very picky.
And practical, you're very analytical, you want things to make sense, add up.
And proud of it.
And you should be. Without Virgos, a lot of stuff wouldn't get done, because I'm not that fussy. You don't want me auditing your taxes or editing your posts, or... We all have our gifts, we all have our skills, and mine is not to edit or to point out the fine details. I can't even see colors clearly. I have a spectrum thing that affects the red and green things, so that people say, that's not red, that's orange. And I'm going, no, 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 it's red. They all look red to me.
I believe that most men are shade more.
Michael and I probably... Your turn, Chris.
I just said I believe that all men are shade blind.
Oh, okay.
And I was going to say that I'm willing to bet that right now, if you look at Robin, you probably see her in a purple haze, you know.
I do.
See? I rest my case.
I thought I was just deluded.
No, that's how I live.
Do I look yellow?
You look bright.
Yeah, like there's a bit more light than you would need. But I bet it's really nice to have all that natural light available in the winter. I mean, so many people are in darkness.
My walls are bright yellow, though.
Oh, so it does pick up everything and brighten it up. You look happy? You're enjoying your day?
Always. My little dog seems to be getting better. I had to take her to the vet yesterday.
Yeah, some people, their dogs are so important, and you got to take care of them, right? It's like a little child, and they're looking to you to sort their things out. Mom, help.
You are a child, aren't you?
That's why I've been up and down. My dog goes in, and then she comes in, out, or goes out, then she comes in. How many times have I gotten up through this conversation?
This one wants to out now, which is why she keeps standing up.
So the dog has the owner trained, and the owner believes they have the dog trained. My daughter's doing...
No, I know who rules this yard or this house.
And I am under no illusion here.
Oh, that's right. I'm surrounded by dog owners here. Every one of you ladies has a dog. So I did have a couple of questions. The group name and our weekly participation here. Does anybody else have something they'd like to cover, or somebody else they'd like to invite to speak? I have potentially a guest speaker coming in 2 weeks, but I don't have anybody for next week or for 3 weeks from now. So does anybody have any ideas or suggestions?
You know who's really good on mindset is Adam Chandler.
I don't know Adam myself.
Well, he's part of the challenge I'm in, of course.
Yeah, I was exposed to that in January, but I had so many things to take care of. I couldn't go and start something new in January. It looked pretty exciting. You guys seem to all have stayed together as a group. There's like 13 or 14 of you really doing it.
Yeah, there's quite a few of us. But if you want some training on mindset, he would be a good person if you'd like me to sort of approach him and see if he'd be open.
I would love to hear from somebody that is further along the journey than any of us. That's part of the reason for this group, is so that we can bring the people we know that have valuable information to share with the others, because we don't know till somebody we know and resonate with has a positive experience, whether it's worth the time or energy.
The thing that I think is wonderful about Adam is he's so young. I mean, he's got his whole life ahead of him. I'm just so excited for him, you know.
He's only in his early 30s, I'm thinking.
I think he's in his late 20s.
Oh, okay, so he's got half as far as any of us on his clock.
You know what? Everybody looks young to me nowadays.
Yeah, I'm looking over the hill this year. I'll be 50 coming up here.
Well, I'll be 66.
Wow, that's a common age amongst the ladies I know.
Yes, I'll be 67 next month. Next month I'll be 67.
Wow.
And I just did the big 6-0 myself, so.
It's a wonderful place to be.
I never thought I'd be the youngest person in a group. This has worked out really well for my male ego.
Yeah.
I used to be attracted to the younger girls, but I realized that it's a complete waste of time. They can't hold up the end of a conversation.
But we older women also know how to deal with that ego, Michael, so be careful.
Well, no, I understand. And part of the reason I respect and appreciate all of your valuable opinion is you try to help me with the ego issues without kicking me in the teeth or having to drop me to my knees. It's subtle.
That area which would drop you to your knees.
That's because we all like Andrew so much.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not surprised. I agree completely. I certainly wouldn't work this hard on myself for me.
I gotta let the dog out.
Fair enough. Please do. And that's been really a refreshing relief. For the first time ever on Tuesday, I didn't have to go out and do a 13-hour day. I got to work a split shift and do 3 hours work followed by 5 hours work and have an hour break in the middle. So it was kind of nice. And I actually took the break and did lunch with Len. And he's asked me to come and share in 2 weeks about my Google experience. It would seem that most people at MLSP have no practical experience at all outside of Facebook because they don't teach any of that stuff in MLSP. So most of Len's audience are unfamiliar with the benefits of being on Google or participating in Google circles, or you know, how to even set up a Google page for your business and why you might want to do that to link it to your website. It turns out the more stuff you got going on at Google, the more Google likes you. Part of the reason I decided on an Android phone and not an iPhone isn't just because I don't have any other iTools and I don't want to have to pay for a bunch of more services, but it makes sense to stick with what you're working with. It was certainly nice on my Google phone to be able to upload stuff directly to my website from my phone, so when I take a picture on my Google phone, I can hit a button and upload it straight into my WordPress website. It took me a while to figure out how that works, but I'm so glad I did. It saves a lot of hassle saving it, making it a file, saving as, naming it, putting it on a stick, and then going to your site, opening it, and uploading the thing. You know, if you're only doing one or two, it can be a real pain in the ass and quite a time waster. So that's about as close as a tech tip as you're going to get from Michael. So when Phyllis, very first time she came to speak to us about 3 months ago, I posted a video in the Webmasters Posse group. It was a 20-minute video where Phyllis was sharing about the how you would read the moon cycles. I'm going to go find that video after the session today, and I'll post it back in the group because it is the 20-minute version of which she just laid the groundwork for. So what you saw was basically the introduction and the groundwork for the video that I'm going to link up today into the group with. And in there for about 20 minutes, she uses an actual chart from one of her clients, and she goes through an example. It won't be you, but it'll give you an understanding of what sort of things are going on, so that the next time you see her or talk to her, you'll have something to base your questions on. And then as soon as you get your birth date to her, she can produce a chart for you so you can start figuring out how that works in your life. I've looked at it, and she's right. It doesn't transfer exactly to the calendar, but you know when everything's moving downwards. And if you go and look and it concurs with how you feel, then you know it's natural cycle, and you can stop struggling. So on Monday, I felt absolutely exhausted, just completely worn out. I decided I didn't want to do anything on my website. My wife asked me to spend some time with her in the morning. We went out together in the afternoon. And I talked to Phyllis on Tuesday about confirming today, and she went and looked at my chart, and she says, well, that's not surprising. Your moon's at the lowest point for a month. Mars is at the lowest cycle for this year, and Jupiter is the second lowest point for this whole year, and it's all happened in the last 24 hours. She says, give it another 2 days, you're going to feel like a brand new guy, but don't fight it. Just sit back and relax, because this is probably the second lowest point for your whole cycle for the next calendar year. And just be happy you're going through it early in the year and you've got it out of your system. There's another one coming in about 6 months, because these things come in cycles, because one thing's moving on a monthly basis, and in Mars it's on a 2-year cycle, and Jupiter's on a 12-year cycle. So it's only every 6 years the Moon, the Mars, and Jupiter all line up at one place. And that's when you, in my point, it was my car accident 6 years ago was the last time I had this negative alignment where 3 malefic planets in my chart were all in alignment. And if you know and you can look out for these things, you can maybe avoid the accident, or just look back and see. Phyllis says that when she looked at my chart after the heart attack, she could clearly see it in my chart, and it confirmed that she'd made a mistake in my chart. On the original time of my birth, I was actually born about 5 minutes before where we'd figured, and what had happened is I'd gone from this point as a Libra rising to a brand new Scorpio with a Libra rising, because one planet had moved one sign. My sun had been at 29.6, and the sun expires at 30. So I was so close to it expiring when she moved my chart the 5 minutes, it made things visible she hadn't seen when she started working with me 4 years before. And as soon as she saw the heart attack, she went and looked because she hadn't seen it in the chart the first time. And literally 5 minutes difference made the difference between whether or not I had a heart attack, and 10 minutes the other side, I wouldn't have survived the heart attack. So I'm glad I didn't have that incarnation of Michael to live through. Somebody else had that journey. But it's all a matter of, everything in your life is to some degree a matter of when you're born. Phyllis even says in her second level of her teaching that we consciously choose the parents we are going to be born with to provide us with the environment necessary for us to have the experiences, so we will be equipped for the life's journey we've chosen. So in her example, she says sometimes when people have relationships that only last for a month or 2 months, or an encounter where they're only together for 1 day and it was a random thing, it was specifically so those two people could conceive a certain child, and they weren't supposed to have a relationship or any other experiences. And it's when you ignore these situations you get into these horribly destructive relationships, because the reason they got together is to have that child born, not because they were soulmates or meant to get together. And the child decided that, not the adults. So we really should stop blaming our parents, because they didn't choose who we are and what we're made of. We did before we came here, so we could learn our soul's lesson. And that's part of the problem with Western society.
I've heard that before, and it resonates. It resonates real well in my solar plexus.
Chris, did you hear that Michael's going to post the 20-minute session that Phyllis did earlier?
Yeah, I could still hear you when I was outside.
Good. Yeah, I've seen it live and I've watched the video, and each time I watch the recording, I come to understand something new about myself, because as she goes through the different planets, you'll know by your chart whether they're important to your chart, by where they're positioned, you know, if they're your sun sign or your moon sign or any of those things. And those things will resonate if they're true for you, and it'll make it clearer what you know, because as you have the experience that she's relating, it will make sense. And if you haven't, it won't. So then you can see whether you've accurately assessed who you are and where you are.
So how do we make it so she can do a chart for us?
She simply needs you to email her your time and place of birth as accurately as you can provide it, and the physical location. So she needs geographically the town or the city, the time, and the birth date, the day of the year, the full calendar date. With those 3 pieces of information, she can create a Vedic chart, and one of the options is to print your planetary cycles, the Ashtavarga, for you as part of that chart. If you become her student in June or July when she fires up her course, she'll do a chart with the Ashtavargas as part of your class package, because during the class she actually will be using your charts from her students attending as examples, so that we can learn from talking about the actual people with their permission. So when she's talking about an experience somebody's had, you can actually go look at their chart, and she can show you where that alignment was in the chart, and then the person can relate how that happened. And for a lot of people, it's those discussions of their experience and how it was in their chart afterwards that have become the real education pieces, because there's constant themes. So all Virgos are going to have certain experiences in their adult lives. We don't know where it's going to happen at age 21 or 50, but sometime as an adult, you're going to have this experience if you're running the Virgo path. And how it plays out for you and what happens is a result of how you deal with it, that all the people doing the same journey at some point. And once you know where your pada is, you can more assess where you are in the journey. So in the Vedic tradition, it's all about every time you get a point is checking the next point up to make sure it's, and every time is to make it more accurate or create a deeper understanding of what you already know. So it's sort of like the layers of an onion. She starts out in the center with your time and place of birth, and then slowly explains outwards as she starts with your moon, and then Mars and Mercury, and you know, as she builds out through the planets. And it creates a better understanding of your own journey as you identify these energies in you, because some things she'll talk about won't make any sense at all because they're not part of you. But when she comes to something that's working in your chart right now, or something that's active in your personality, it's going to resonate, or at least I found it resonated really clearly. So when you hear the parts of your story, you will identify with them. And sometimes knowing that it's a assigned thing. Like, I did not understand that part of the reason why I don't make a lot of money and I spend a lot of money on self-improvement is I've been really wealthy before, and I earned that money from people that I didn't pay very well. So my karmatic debt this time is to be underpaid as I learned the things I didn't the first time, because even though I was really rich, I didn't have a family life or a personal life. So this time I have the perfect personal life and family life. I've been married to the same woman for 28 years. We've been together for 31 years. We have 2 kids, 3 grandkids. So in this journey, I've forgone the material wealth for having the wonderful relationships, because we can't have all of everything every time. And if you want to have something that's really amazing, you might have to give up something else. And knowing that that was a choice you made can sometimes stop you from beating yourself up about it. I've stopped struggling about making money, and as soon as I stopped struggling about making money, all of a sudden I have enough to keep my head above water. But as long as I was focused on making money, when that isn't my mission here, my mission is to help people recover and improve themselves, because that's what I'm here to share. My PATA is called the 100 Physicians. It's a constellation where a lot of famous doctors have their charts. I could have been a doctor or a surgeon had my parents sent me through university, and I had that passion. It's part of what made me a chef, because the same thing that makes doctors really good is knowing about all the different things that can happen in all the different areas. So it's sort of like a chef with dealing with all the different cooking methods and all the different foods. They're flavors of the same sort of thing. It's like a pharmacist. He knows about all the different formulations for all the different things and whether they're good or bad for your body, but it's that same sort of discipline that people with my chart would have. Larry and Hoffman and I get along really well. It turns out our birthdays are 2 days apart, which is one of the reasons we got along really well and resonated, because we're a lot alike. One of the reasons I pissed his wife off a couple of times is I did things that he would do, and she didn't know how to deal with it, because she, by reflex, doesn't deal with them how she'd like to, because normally it's Larry doing those things, and when I did them, she didn't know how to respond, and that made her uncomfortable because she liked to be in charge.
She does like being in charge.
So I've accepted that that's just, we aren't meant for each other, and that's just fine. And it's nothing personal against her now that I'm not angry about it. It's just not everybody's for everybody, and not everybody has a message you need to hear at the time. I needed to learn something, and it really was Larry helping me with dealing with my past baggage and accepting that people were in my life to either learn something from me or for me to learn something from them, and it was an equal thing that went both ways. And once I started looking at it that way, and it isn't just that I have something to offer other people, but everybody I have to deal with probably has something that I need from them too. So once I've opened up both sides, I started to have a lot more positive experiences with people I was meeting, and things moved forward.
There you go.
But if you come in with expectations of every relationship, that's not good. People can sense that sort of underlying pressure.
I'll tell you, one of the favorite things that she says that sticks in my head is what other people think about you is none of your business.
Absolutely, and I've heard that from 5 or 6 famous people I've studied with, that I've never gotten it clearly jammed into my subconscious so I could live it and enjoy that sense of relief of not caring.
Yeah, I used to care, but I don't anymore.
I used to give, as Phyllis would call it, the shiny people, more credit than they were due. And I recently had the experiences that prove we're all just human on the same journey. So now most of them aren't shiny anymore. And actually, I told Phyllis about 3 months ago she wasn't shiny, and she started to cry.
Oh, no.
And I thought, my God, what have I done? Have I hurt your feelings? She says, no, you get it finally. I'm so relieved. Like, I've known you for 8 years. You finally got it. We're not special. We're just further along the journey.
Yeah, that's true.
Makes sense.
But if you give away your power, you've got nothing left to fuel it, right?
That's right.
So I'm happily saying that it's my story, and I'll tell it. And thank you for listening, because in sharing it, we all get better, because we can learn collectively from other people's mistakes and lessons, so we don't have to go learn them all every time.
That's true.
So we have now come to 12:54. Does anybody have any questions or input before we call it a wrap-up for the day?
I don't think so. Oh, sorry.
It was good to listen to Phyllis.
Yeah, Phyllis came today and said she would talk for 10 minutes. I talked her into 15 before she showed up. And I'm glad we got her going for 20, because quite often it's that extra little piece that helps it make sense to somebody in the audience. And I think today it was that last re-brace or refresher that made sense to everybody. I'd heard it before, but every time she shares, I'm different, as well as her expression is clearer. So in some ways, she's a lot like all of us. We're here trying to improve our message. So it all works out that it's a communication form. And even one of the most of all people I meet comes here to practice in front of us before she comes out into the real world. So it is a blessing and a gift that she's chosen to share with our small group. And it's funny that the people I associated myself all resonate with her, but not. It is just how it is. And I accept that you're all here in my life because we all have something to learn from each other. So thank you all for helping me become a better me as you all become better yous.
There you go.
Yeah, in it together, one way or t'other.
All right, so have a great week, lady. I'm going to hit the button here. I've got an hour and 4 minutes in the can. Take care and enjoy. We'll talk soon.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Agnes.